Good afternoon to all. So, continuing our topic of spinal cord injury, traumatic spinal cord injury, where we have already seen the introduction part, the etiology part, also we saw the mechanism of injury, the classification on which we are going to describe what is the level of injury, is it complete or incomplete given by the Asia Association, and then now we are up to clinical manifestation. So in clinical manifestation also we saw one of the thing that was spinal shock. So whenever a structure is damaged, what is the first thing? It will shut down its function, all the functions that it is performing. બધા જ function એ પાર્ટ કરતું હશે એ બધા જ સ્ટોપ થઈ જશે. Yes, so that is termed as spinal shock. It may last for various weeks, generally 2 to 4 weeks probably, and if it lasts more than that, there is a sign that it will not be a good prognosis. Believed to result from very abrupt withdrawal of connection between the higher centers and spinal cord, absence of all reflex activities. Yes, all the reflexes, superficial, dependent reflexes, all the reflexes will be affected. The minimum amount of reflexes will be there, or no reflexes, or what we term as areflexia. Flaccidity and loss of sensation and motor function below the level of the lesion. Yes, Japan level of lesion, say for example, is the level of lesion. So T5 there will be no motor or sensory function initially in the phase of spinal shock. પછી આપણે જે વાત કરી it depends on the which area of the spinal cord is affected and if it is one of the syndromes or it is a general incomplete destruction of the spinal cord. May last from several days to several weeks also. It can last from days, 1 or 2 days, up to weeks, 3-4 months or even more than that. First indicator of resolving spinal shock is a positive bulbocavernous reflex. Bulbocavernous reflex is, as we described in the last lecture, you insert and try to palpate with one finger or two fingers the anal sphincters, and while you stimulate the clitoris or the glans penis. Yes, so the sensory input for the same is glans penis or clitoris, and the response will be anal sphincter will contract. Yes, that is the first positive sign. So always a neurophysician will try to check this reflex if the patient is in spinal shock, and later on this is the sign of first recovery. Motor and sensory impairments include complete or partial loss of muscle function below the level of lesion. Yes. So as we talked about T4 level injury, T5 from T5 there will be no movement or no sensory supply. That is there will be cut of the wiring, cut of the function, physiological functions of the spinal cord. Impaired or absent sensation below the level of lesion, and clinical presentation depends on neurological level, completeness of the lesion and symmetry of the lesion. As we had described in the last lecture, say for example one of the region is affected, so depending on that, if it is complete, if it is incomplete, this is only affected, completely anterior posterior region is affected. Also, it will depend on the neurological level. Is it T4, is it L5, is it C4? Depending on that, there will be signs and symptoms. Okay. C4 level હશે તો diaphragm પણ affect થશે, upper limbs, lower limbs all will be affected. T4 level છે તો intercostal muscles affect થશે, abdominal muscles affect થશે, અને lower limbs will be completely paralyzed. That is paraplegia type of lesion. If it is only L5 પાસે હશે, then there are chances the patient will have less signs and symptoms compared to T4, but still persistence of some muscles will be there, not complete paraplegia. So this is what will depend on the type of lesion. Yes, motor and sensory involvement will depend on the neurological level, completeness of the lesion, complete or incomplete, and symmetry of the lesion. બંને બાજુ છે કે એક બાજુ છે, which side it is more severe and other side it is less severe. Now coming to another important symptom, that is autonomic dysreflexia. Autonomic dysreflexia is an acute emergency condition. એક એવી condition છે. Our spinal cord is responsible for many functions. Yes, one of them is autonomic function. Autonomic, something that happens in our body automatically. Yes, so for this our body has mechanisms. Say for example, blood pressure change through. Whenever you feel the urge to pass the urine, at that time the bladder should relax. Yes, so when we want the bladder to relax, first of all the sensations from the urinary bladder should go upwards. Physiology, yes, excretory system physiology, you should remember. From the bladder, the fibers send signal that they are stretched and now it needs to be void through the spinal cord. Yes, spinal cord through signals ऊपर जैसे. Then the brain will decide if it is appropriate or not to pass the urine at a specific place at a specific time. Time and place. If they are right, then the muscles will get the external and internal sphincter muscles. They will get the signal and the urine will be passed on. Yes. So for this, the sensory supply ऊपर जવું જોઈએ. Now bladder is full, but spinal cord is cut. Yes, so it cannot send the signals to the brain. It is an acute onset of autonomic nervous system from noxious stimuli below the level of lesion. So this is one of the noxious stimuli. Also, say for example, પગમાં કન્ટિન્યુ એક પોઝિશનમાં રાખીને પ્રેશર અલ્સર થઈ જાય છે, પ્રેશર ફોર્સ થઈ જાય છે, તો શું થશે? એક જગ્યાએ કન્ટિન્યુઅસલી પેઇન ઉપર જવાની ટ્રાય કરે છે, but here it is cut off at some level because this is spinal cord injury and cut off થઈ ગયું છે એની જગ્યાએ ઉપર નહીં જઈ શકે. Now comes the role of autonomic nervous system. So mainly this occurs above the level of T6, above the sympathetic splenic outflow, and following SCI, the impulses from the vasomotor center cannot pass the site of the lesion to counteract the hypertension by vasodilation. અહીંયાથી continuous stimuli જાય છે, autonomic nervous system will sense this and cause vasodilatation. અહીંયા vasodilatation થશે, brain sense શું કરશે? hypothalamus, main center of our body, he sense કરશે કે hypertension થાય છે. What will that lead to? ऊपर બધા લેવલ સુધી સ્પાઇનલ કોર્ડ થ્રુ બધાને કહેશે now it is time to vasoconstrict. Yes, vasoconstriction થશે, and this will lead to decrease in blood pressure and decrease in heart rate. Decreased heart rate, that means it will be an emergency condition. Bradycardia થવા માંડે, patient will have slowly and steadily heart get stopped. અહીંયા તો પ્રેશર વધતું જ જશે. Why? Because noxious stimuli તો કન્ટિન્યુ હજી છે જ. ક્યુકોના લીધે noxious stimuli, may that be urinary bladder, may that be pressure ulcer, may that be any other reason. Yes, એના લીધે કન્ટિન્યુઅસલી ઇમ્પલ્સ જાય છે, ઓટોનોમિક નર્વસ સિસ્ટમ એક્ટિવેટ થઈ જાય છે, બ્રેનને ખબર પડે છે હાઇપરટેન્શન છે, હાઇપો કરવા હાર્ટને સ્લો કરે છે. પણ હજી બ્લડ પ્રેશર તો વધારે જ થતું જાય છે. યસ, બ્લડ વધારે પ્રેશર જનરેટ કરે છે, that is causing more and more decrease in heart rate. So if not treated, the patient will die. Yes, the heart will be not potent enough to circulate the enough amount of blood needed for the whole body, and slowly and steadily the patient will die. So it is important. ચાલુ ક્યાંથી થયું? noxious stimuli થી. અને noxious stimuli either તમે કાઢી નાખો or you give the drugs such that there is increase in heart rate and increase in blood pressure above the level of the lesion also. Yes. So diagrammatically, if we want to represent autonomic dysfunction, we can easily see this. First, the bladder is full. Yes, the first noxious stimuli. Yes, there are various types of stimuli that we are going to see, so don't worry, this is one of the examples. Yes, because of the full bladder, the nerve tries to send a message. Yes, ચેતાતંતુ થી ઉપર જવાની ટ્રાય કરશે, મેસેજ લઈ જવાની ટ્રાય કરશે, but that is not possible. So what will happen? Blood vessels constrict. Because of the constriction, there is increase in the blood pressure. Yes, blood pressure constrict થશે, blood vessels constrict થશે, blood pressure વધી જશે. હવે hypothalamus ને ખબર પડશે, brain will sense the increased blood pressure. તો એ શું કરશે? heart ને slow થવાનું કામ કરશે. Yes, so heart rate decreases, and this will lead to many things. Nasal stuffiness, pounding headache. Why? Because the brain is not getting enough amount of blood. Sweating above the level of injury, એટલે અહીંયા injury છે T6 level or above, તો અહીંયા sweating થશે અને અહીંયા patient will feel warmth, and flushing of face and neck. આખું face અને neck red થઈ જશે. Yes, so this is the cycle. કોઈ એક stimuli ના લીધે vasoconstriction, ના લીધે increase blood pressure increase થયું, એના લીધે brain sense કરે છે increase blood pressure, એટલે heart rate decrease કરશે, એટલે patient has life threatening symptoms. Yes, so which are the stimuli? Yes, આપણે એક વાત કરી કે bladder full હોય. There are other things also. Bladder is distended, rectal is distended. Yes, even if the patient is having constipation, these signs and symptoms will pass because the patient has to send the signal that there is an urge to pass the urine or the stool, but that is not possible in spinal cord injury, and that is why the patient cannot send the signal in the region locally below the level of lesion vasoconstriction thrombus. Pressure source, as we described, noxious stimuli, something that causes pain. કોઈ પણ વસ્તુ જે pain કરશે એને noxious stimuli કહેવાય. Yes. So when the patient is having pain because of anything, it will lead to this types of emergency condition, autonomic dysfunction. Urinary stones, again, it is related to pain. Bladder infection, because of the infection also this can happen. For infections also blood needs to pass continuously from that region, but blood pressure is not monitored, and that is why it will lead to autonomic dysfunction. Noxious cutaneous stimuli. Cutaneous stimuli એટલે બહારથી કાંઈ પણ એવું પૂછતું હોય, લાગતું હોય, patient has no sensations. Yes, but receptors, they are getting activated continuously. Outflow na lidhe, there will be autonomic nervous system getting activated, causing vasoconstriction, increasing the blood pressure. Kidney malfunction, urethral or bladder irritation, and environmental temperature changes. Temperature પણ change થશે, એ પણ આપણું જ કામ છે. Yes, આપણા જ autonomic nervous system નું કામ છે. That even if the change in temperature is there, that is to be maintained by the body automatically. We do not need to do આપણે exercise ના કરવી પડે ઠંડા environment. Normally our body has mechanisms to maintain that or cope up with the altered temperature. Yes. So for that reason also we need to see if the patient has any of this initiating stimuli. Why it is important for us? આ બધું ખબર હોવી. Why? Because whenever the patient is having such symptoms, yes, nasal stuffing, or say example flushing of face and neck, sweating above the level of injury, and the patient is feeling warm, at that time we are going to provide specifically going to see for these, any of these are present or not. If the patient has a history of kidney or infection, if the patient's bladder is full or not. When we check all this and we remove the stimuli, the patient will become normal. What will be the symptoms? First is hypertension. Yes, vasoconstriction na lidhe સીધું hypertension થાય છે. Second, bradycardia, most dangerous. The patient will also have headache, severe headache. That will be caused because of the hypertension, and then heart is decreasing the heart rate, so blood supply of the brain is also going to be hampered. Profuse sweating, yes, autonomic nervous system is affected. Increase in spasticity, muscles become more and more spastic because of such condition. So whenever you are providing exercise as a physical therapist also to a patient of spinal cord injury, and you see that slowly and gradually spasticity is increasing just in 10 to 15 minutes, that is a sign that it might be autonomic dysfunction. Restlessness, the patient feels restless, wants to change the position, wants to get up from there or do something, and that will cause them restless. Vasoconstriction below the level of lesion, vasodilatation above the lesion. How do you know? You will measure the blood pressure from the upper limb and lower limb both, and check if there is hyper and hypo change in the blood pressure. If so, it is a sign that there will be dysfunction. Also, constricted pupil, nasal congestion, and piloerection and blurred vision. So all the symptoms related to eyes and spatial sense nose. Yes, so for that, all the three may be present when we are checking for the symptoms of autonomic dysfunction. What intervention? As we discussed, it is a medical emergency. If not treated accordingly in time, we might lose the patient also. Yes. So for that reason, patient should be brought to sitting position and everything should be checked. Bladder drainage system as well as body drainage. Check for irritating stimuli. કોઈ પણ વસ્તુ જે irritate કરતી હોય patient ને, noxious stimuli. Yes, the same thing as we talked, such as tight clothing, બહુ જ tight clothing હોય, or restricting catheter. Catheter ઘણીવાર kink થઈ જાય. Kink એટલે એવું એટલું વળી જાય કે backflow થવા માંડે એમાંથી ને આગળ fluid ના જઈ શકે. Say for example, a catheter, urinary catheter, if inserted, gets kinked. Yes, at that time fluid or urine cannot pass through, પણ એ backflow થવા માંડશે વધારે વધારે. That also can cause such an condition. Straps or abdominal binder. તો કોઈ પણ straps or abdominal binders પર હશે એનાથી abdomen region માં pressure વધી જશે. There are chances the patient will have such signs and symptoms. If the symptoms do not subside, medical or a nursing assistant should be sought immediately. So we might even need to call the ambulance if the patient is already hospitalized. In this position, in this time, we can also go to the patient. We can ask the doctor to come in. We can ask the nursing staff to come in and assist us in the situation. Yes. Second important symptom that affects almost all the patients is postural hypotension. Some postural hypotension, even right now, if you are lying down, if you stand up abruptly, yes, and you will have blackout or you will lose your balance. Yes, so that is termed as postural hypotension. So decrease in blood pressure that occurs when assuming an erect or vertical position. Yes, that is termed as postural hypotension. What is the mechanism? First is the loss of sympathetic vasoconstriction and control plus reduce muscle tone. Muscle already flaccid છે. Yes, decrease muscle tone. ઉપરથી vasoconstriction ઓછું થઈ જશે. Sympathetic, whenever you as a normal individual are moving from supine lying position to standing position, erect position, at that time, more specifically, sympathetic nervous system causes vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction से શું થશે? Peripherally constrict થઈ જશે, blood flow વધી જશે, hypertension થશે, એટલે વધારે blood will try to reach the brain. Yes, the problem क्या આવે છે? Why is there loss of balance or everything? Whenever we are lying down supine in this position, the patient heart is not sufficient enough to push the blood while the patient is turning into erect position. Yes, એટલે સુતા હોય તો હાર્ટને ઓછું કામ કરવું પડે blood brain સુધી પહોંચાડવા માટે. Why? Gravity is not there. Whenever the patient is moving into standing position or vertical position, તો અચાનક જ ગ્રેવિટીની ઇફેક્ટ આવી જશે, તો જેટલું બ્લડ હાર્ટ જે ફોર્સથી પમ્પ કરતું હતું એટલું સફિશિયન્ટ નહીં રહે. તો ફોર ધીસ 2 to 3 seconds heart has to pump rapidly. Yes, so એની માટે સિમ્પેથેટિક નર્વસ સિસ્ટમ શું કરશે? આજુબાજુથી પણ બ્લડ વેસોકન્સ્ટ્રિક્ટ કરાવીને હાર્ટ પાસે લઈ આવશે કે વધારે બ્લડ હોય તો વધારે ફોર્સથી જલ્દી બ્રેન પાસે પહોંચે અને normal function maintain થાય. But that is not possible here in spinal cord injury because sympathetic and parasympathetic both are controlled by peripheral nerves. Peripheral nerves will be affected because spinal cord itself is injured. Peripheral venous and sphenic bed pulling. So, જે પણ blood આજુબાજુ હતું, may there be periphery, upper limbs or lower limbs, that will remain there. ત્યાંથી પાછું નહીં આવે. હાર્ટ પાસે ઓછું બ્લડ હશે તો બ્રેન પાસે ઓછું જ પહોંચવાનું છે. Yes. That leads to reduced cerebral blood flow and decreased venous return, which leads to lightheadedness, dizziness, and fainting. You can see from the photograph itself, the patient is about to fall. Yes, and if the patient falls, there are again multiple sequel of that too. Frequent with cervical and upper thoracic lesion. Yes, specifically because more of the blood that we want to drain is from the periphery of the hands. Yes, because that will be rapid. See the distance for the vessels to travel the blood from the lower limbs to heart is very big, but from the upper limbs, from the thoracic region, from the abdominal region, it is very small. So whenever there is problem with cervical and upper thoracic region, more specifically such sign and symptom might appear. Other related problem will be edema of legs, ankles and feet. Yes, it will be symmetric, બંને પગમાં સરખું, and pitting type of edema, pitting and non-pitting. Pitting means you press, hold it and then remove the part, that is the part will come out again. That is આપણે કહીએ કે દબાવીને આપણે રાખીએ એમાં એક impression પડી જશે. Once impression that you remove, it will come back to normal. That is pitting type of edema. The CVS should be allowed to adapt gradually by a slow progression of the vertical position. So આનો treatment શું? So you can see a standard. Yes, this is an mechanical standard. This can also be provided to other conditions for, say for example, cerebral palsy child for early wave bearings, and also for stroke patient for early wave bearing. So in this also, you can see you slowly and steadily move the part from supine line, continuously from supine line position of the patient to slowly you move and make the patient erect. Yes, it happens over few minutes, not seconds. Yes. सीधा सुता હોય ને ફટ કરીને બટન દબાવીને સીધા નથી કરવાના. Yes, we want to do it very gradually so the patient's body will adapt to that, patient's heart will adapt to that, the vascular system will adapt to that. So CVS should be allowed to adapt gradually by a slow progression to the vertical position. Vital signs should be monitored. Yes, આ જ્યારે કરતા હોય ત્યારે most important vital signs આપણે monitor કરવાની છે. Why do we want to monitor vital signs? First is blood pressure and second is heart rate. That are most important. Blood pressure monitor કરશું તો ખબર પડશે if there is any irregularity, and heart rate થી ખબર પડશે if heart's force of contraction or rhythm has changed or not. Use of compressive stockings and abdominal binders may help. So compressive stockings are stockings worn like a sock they exert pressure over the lower limbs. Lower limbs માં pressure generate કરશે જેનાથી blood pooling જે lower limbs માં થાય છે એ વધારે વધારે venous return માં convert થશે. Drug therapy. Remember the drug. Ephedrine is used to increase the blood pressure and low dose diuretics to relieve the persistent edema of the legs. Yes. So ephedrine is an increase for increasing the blood pressure and low dose diuretics to help relieve the persistent edema of the legs. So both of these drugs combination will be helpful for such patients who have postural hypotension, and along with the therapy they can easily move from one position to another with practice. Yes, it will not happen in days, it will take weeks together. Also, there will be impaired temperature control. As we already told, it is an autonomic dysfunction. When the autonomic nervous system itself is affected, 100% this will be affected. So, control of hypothalamus and cutaneous blood flow is lost. Yes, hypothalamus sees everything. May there be a blood pressure, may there be a heart rate, may there be a pulse, so that is heart rate, as well as temperature and respiratory rate also. It regulates everything, almost everything. That is why it is one of the biggest sensor of the body. If hypothalamus is injured, your whole autonomic nervous system is compromised. Yes. So autonomic dysfunction is loss of internal thermoregulatory response, lost ability to shiver also. In cold environments, this is more important. Yes. Why does our body shiver? To generate heat. Muscles જ્યારે પણ contract થાય. Yes, so energy use થાય. Say for example, ATP is converted to ADP that generates heat. The heat ne use કરીને we counteract this cold. Yes, so lost ability to shiver. That means the patient will not be able to self-sufficiently provide warmth to the own temperature. Yes, જ્યારે પણ ઠંડી લાગે, what do? We try to move our hands. Yes. એક તો ગરમી અહીંયા પ્રોડ્યુસ થાય છે, સામે જે પણ મસલ્સ એક્ટ કરે છે, એલ્બો ફ્લેક્સર, સુપિનેટર્સ, રિસ્ટ ફ્લેક્સર્સ, એક્સટેન્સર્સ, એ બધા કોન્ટ્રેક્ટ કરીને શિવર કરે છે, and that leads to reduction in the cold or the hypothermia. Absence of thermoregulatory sweating below the level of the lesion leads to excessive compensatory diaphoresis above the level of the lesion. So thermoregulation, when it is not there for below the level of the lesion specifically, if we talk about, then there will be sweating below the level and excessive diaphoresis. Diaphoresis means excessively water will be held by the body. Yes, because it senses that excessively water is being lost below the level of the lesion. So it tries to maintain as much as possible water in the upper body. Body temperature significantly affected by external environment. So small change in external environment also upper body will be able to cope, but lower body nahi kari sake. So hypothalamus cannot communicate with the lower body. Yes, spinal cord is injured. That is why it cannot communicate, and hence temperature cannot be maintained. Respiratory impairment will also be there in the form specifically for પેલા તો site of lesion. બરાબર, C4 level directly affect થાય તો diaphragm affect થશે. T1 to T11 anything intercostal muscles will be affected, and T7 to T12 abdominal muscles will be affected. Yes, so you see, higher the lesion, the more are chances the patient will not survive without ventilatory support. So respiratory function varies considerably depending on the level of lesion. So you can see from the diagram itself how the level of the lesion is affecting such condition, spinal cord injury. The level of respiration impairment is directly due. First thing that we saw is lesion level. Yes, જેટલું ઉપર એટલું ખરાબ, એટલા વધારે muscles paralyzed. Second, residual respiratory muscle function. જે પણ residual respiratory muscles છે, જે પણ બચી ગયા છે, say for example, abdominal muscles are affected, but intercostals are spared. તો એમનું કેટલું function છે? Yes, and diaphragm is spared, of course. If abdominals are only affected, then diaphragm is spared. So intercostals and diaphragm are comparatively spared, so almost no problem. But if intercostals and abdominals are affected and only diaphragm is there, then there will be a problem. Yes, diaphragm alone cannot control all the motions, specifically when activity is going on. Silent breathing can be done by diaphragm, but when activity is there, it needs accessory muscles, specifically intercostal muscles. Third, additional trauma sustained at the time of injury. હવે સાથે સાથે પેશન્ટને vertebral fractures થયા, abdomen માં puncture થઈ ગયું because of something hitting the abdomen. Additional જે પણ હશે, chest expansion will not be there, and because of that the patient might have additional respiratory impairments. And the last, comorbid or premorbid respiratory status, એટલે કે injury થાય એની પહેલા જ dysfunction હતું, કંઈ પણ લંગ્સમાં અસ્થમા હતું પેશન્ટને, COPD હતું, ફાઇબ્રોસિસ હતું, anything related to the respiration, કોઈ પણ condition પહેલા હતી અને પછી આ ટ્રોમા થયું છે અને મસલ્સ કોમ્પ્રોમાઇઝ થયા છે, that means that will again lead to more and more impairment. Impairment means structural loss specifically. Pulmonary complications, high mortality during early stage of tetraplegia. Whenever the patient is having pulmonary complications, there are chances the patient will not survive more. For this, higher the lesion, the greater the loss of respiration. As we discussed, the upper lesion, એટલા વધારે chances the patient will not be able to survive for prolonged period of time. Paralysis of external intercostal muscles, decreased chest expansion and lower inspiratory volume. Higher level of lesion, above that, increased involvement of accessory muscles also, sternocleidomastoid, trapezius, pectoralis minor, serratus anterior. Yes. જેટલું ઉપર જતું જશે lesion, accessory muscles પણ જે પણ છે, accessory inspiratory and accessory expiratory muscles, that also will be affected. If we talk specifically of expiration, abdominal muscles will also be affected. So abdominal muscles એકવાર affect થશે તો તમારું coughing પણ affect થશે, expansion પણ affect થશે, and because of this the patient will have difficulty in expectorating cough or sputum. Loss of abdominals and intercostals lead to significant decrease in expiratory efficiency. Lowered position of the diaphragm and lack of abdominal pressure to move the diaphragm up will lead to decrease the effectiveness of cough and decrease expiratory reserve volume. Yes. So if we talk about external intercostal muscles, that will lead to lower inspiratory volume. Yes, specifically. Also, if we talk about abdominals and internal intercostals, that will decrease the expiratory efficiency. Yes. Internal intercostals and abdominals are responsible for expiration. External intercostals are responsible for inspiration. Altered breathing pattern lead to permanent postural changes. Yes, and જ્યારે પણ breathing affect થશે તો breathing pattern change થશે, for abdominal or abdominal thoracic, depending on which muscles are intact, which are not. So accordingly, there will be signs and symptoms, and once the patient learns how to survive on that, you cannot come back to normal. Yes, it will be altered for life. Okay, last thing that we want to discuss is spasticity. Yes. So spasticity persists. Why? Because at the level of lesion there will be element type of signs and symptoms. Placidity at level, there will be element. But higher, lower, below the level of the lesion, there will be UMN signs and symptoms. So spasticity is much more common in spinal cord injury patients. So result from release of intact reflex arc from CNS control is characterized by what is spasticity? Hypertonia, hypertonicity. Then hypertonia elicited by catch and release when we do fast passive movement. So this is related to stretch reflex, hyperactive stretch reflex. And clonus. Yes, you already know what a pathological reflex clonus is. Gradual increase in spasticity in the first 6 months, plateau reached in 1 year. So spasticity will keep on increasing till 6 months, then it will become plateau. And sometimes also it starts declining. Spasticity increased by multiple internal and external stimuli. અંદરથી પણ anxious patient થઈ જાય, that is one of the example. Anxious or anger will elicit the spasticity. External, if you talk about temperature, cold temperature decreases, warm temperature increase spasticity. So internal as well as external factors decide what the level of spasticity will be. કેટલું spasticity હશે પેશન્ટમાં. Some spasticity may assist in functional activities. An example of this is spasticity of wrist flexors. Yes, જ્યારે પણ wrist flexors માં spasticity હશે, at that time some portion we do allow કે થોડુંક spasticity આવવું જોઈએ. Why? Because when we do elbow extension, this spasticity will help in grasping. Yes, say for example, I am moving this and there is spasticity, so automatically I will have a grasp. Yes, and I can ask the patient to perform activities and learn this way. Also, if second example, this is example of passive insufficiency also. Yes, also if Spasticity starts developing in paraspinal muscles, yes, on the affected side, BG side, if it is normal, or bilaterally if it is affected and spasticity starts developing. So it is better the patient will be able to sit. Yes, so spasticity is not bad all the times. It might help in functional activities also. So we allow some form of spasticity for functional activities. Strong spasticity interfere with function. હવે આપણે એ જ વાત કરીએ, સેમ એક્ઝામ્પલ લઈએ. If this spasticity of flexors becomes so tight, આ ખુલતું જ નથી. So that is wrong. Patient will not be able to do any activity this. Yes. So we are using certain drugs, specifically muscle relaxants and spasmolytic agents. Spasmolytic, spasm, spasticity, lytic, decrease or bring down. Diazepam, baclofen, dantrolene, sodium. In all neurological conditions, wherever it is Ullmann type of sign and symptom and spasticity is one of the features, you can write all the three drugs. Yes, diazepam, baclofen, and dantrolene sodium. Along with that, you can also go for peripheral nerve block or intrathecal injections. Peripheral nerve blocks and intrathecal injections are there. These are oral medications also available in form of injectables, so that is much more common. Orthopedic surgical maneuvers are also possible, like myotomy, neurectomy, and tenotomy. We are going to see in furthermore classes which are the orthopedic or even neurological surgeries involved in neurology, and neurosurgical procedures like rhizotomy and myelotomy. So what are they? We will be studying of them in detail in later lectures. Yes, okay, fine. We'll keep it till here. Any doubts in all the things that we have discussed so far? We discussed specifically about autonomic dysreflexia. You have to remember this diagram. This diagram will help you tell that yes, what is the whole process. Then of course, you will move to respiratory dysfunction and postural hypotension. After that, impaired temperatures, and later on, we talked about spasticity. Yes, so in this, any doubts you have, please let me know in the chat, yes or no.